Welcome to Passed Out. I'm Josh.
I'm Arash.
You want to start us off, my friend?
Yeah, so today we're going to be covering a variety of things. One, the tragic passing of Brent Hinds of Mastodon. We're going to talk about Megadeth's retirement and also the new album from the Deftones that was released called Private Music and our thoughts on that, along with a few other things like Chance the Rapper and the 10-year anniversary of Compton.
You're listening to Passed Out, the podcast where history, mystery, the occult, and the cosmos collide. Every week we explore new conspiracies, uncover hidden truths, question the impossible, and journey into the unknown. Stay curious, and welcome to Passed Out.
So yeah, let's start with the most tragic one first. Brent Hinds passing. It was crazy that he only 2-3 months ago left Mastodon. At first, Mastodon claimed that it was like a mutually amicable separation, and he comes out in an interview later saying that that was not the case. So when I first heard about it, I thought it was unfortunately maybe something he did to himself or it was something drug related, but it seems like it was a motorcycle accident which caused it.
Yeah, the tragedy was a motorcycle accident. I don't know a whole lot about I didn't know a whole lot about him leaving Mastodon. Like I just didn't really know a whole lot about this. What I did know is that they really haven't put out much since 2021. Like they had a new album in 2021, and then it looks like they've put out a few singles over the years up until like last year, and then earlier this year you see all that. Was it last year that all that came out? Or was it earlier this year that all that came out about him splitting with Mastodon?
It was yeah, like 2-3
It was
months
2, 3 months
ago.
ago? Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
um they released an acoustic album afterwards, probably to complete their obligation to the
Contractual
regular. Yeah,
obligations. That makes sense.
and I dug it. I like the new album. A lot of
I haven't listened to it. I haven't really listened to much of their newer stuff. I haven't really listened to anything since, the 2014 album that had Motherload on it.
They're kind of doing the. I've always kind of called them the American Gojira,
Yeah, I can see that.
and both. I mean, maybe Mastodon a little more so has been going more of the melodic route, but I kind of prefer. I mean, ever since Oblivion, or I'm sorry, Crack
It's
the
Crack
Sky
the
came
Sky,
out.
yeah,
Yeah,
which that's where I really like Mastodon, bro. Like, dude, Leviathan, Blood Mountain, and Crack the Sky, like, just that as a 3-album run is so fucking good. And, like, almost all those albums I can listen to back to like, front to back without any skips.
I think it was Crack the Sky that if you got the special edition vinyl, it came with like a tray, which
Well, that's
was like
sick.
it was like, for party favors, if you will.
Yeah.
They've always added some cool stuff to their vinyls.
Yeah, they've also got a really for Crack the Sky in particular, they have there's a documentary that you can watch on YouTube of, like, the making of Crack the Sky, and it's real I really like their creative process. Periphery does that too. I really like bands that, like, kind of record the process of recording an album and do, like, a little mini YouTube documentary. I think that's really cool, and, like, I loved seeing their process and kinda how they wrote songs and kinda how they approached everything together as a band. It was super
yeah,
cool.
I don't know if it was from the documentary, but I saw some clip or article about Crack the Sky being about the drummer's sister passing, I think
Yeah, I
from
think that's in the
cancer.
documentary that they're talking about it.
Got his name. I'm
But
so bad with names.
the riff at the
Brandaler.
beginning, yeah, the riff at the beginning of Oblivion is probably like the when somebody says Mastodon, that's like the first thing my brain goes to. That
When we first met, that was the album that got me into Mastodon.
yeah,
I
okay.
rented it from the library.
Oh, sick.
I was like, "Oh, I've heard of these guys," and then I rented it, and that was that. Became a
Yeah,
fan since.
it w it was the album before it was Blood Mountain that got me into them because, like, dude, Sleeping Giant, that song is so sick. I love the beginning, the way that it builds, but man, when that, like, little, like, echoing, like, reverb riff that comes in that's just like, boop,
Mhm.
boop, boop, doop, boop, boop. I'm like, "God damn, this is such a sick fucking song."
Yeah.
So, I really like Blood Mountain. And then I went back and listened to Leviathan, and Leviathan's really fucking good. And I'm super into like the oceanography and like all that like like ocean mythology stuff. Like
Oh,
it's
you
just
love it.
I do fucking love it. We have a song called Leviathan on our new record. So um, you know, I I definitely took inspiration from them on some stuff.
Yeah.
I know I
He'll be
definitely never go as heavy as they go, but maybe now that I got a baritone, we'll see.
Yeah, we were talking about Wes Borland last week, bringing the detuned
Yeah.
guitars, and they sure know how to detune the guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Well, not speaking of, but this goes into a band that is known not for detuning their guitars. Dave Mustaine recently came out with an announcement, which was done by AI, and a lot of people are pissed off about that. But I'll go into why I think it was appropriate. Megadeth announced their retirement. The end is near, is what it's called. And I don't know if that's if the album cover. If it's going to be the album cover, it's just like a white square with Vic Rattlehead in a suit, kind of going like this. I don't think that's going to become the album cover, maybe. But I always, ever since their last album, which was about the pandemic, um, I always assumed that Megadeth would be going more into like the AI route, like having political commentary on that. Because throughout their careers, Megadeth, at least lyrically, has been a punk band. You know, they're thrash and metal in their
Mhm.
music, but Dave Mustaine generally has gone after the government and society and all those themes. So I think the announcement was made in AI to kind of hint that that's where this album is going. We'll see. But even the title, "The End Is Near," I know it's I feel it's going to be a double entendre with obviously their career, but also how AI will create the end for humanity. So that's my little prediction on it.
How old
Uh,
is Dave Mustaine?
he is 60. I want to say 64
Yeah.
right now. He was, I think, a little older than Lars and James, if I'm not
That's what I
mistaken.
thought too.
Um, he's 63. He'll turn 64 in less than a month. Um, but he's in about 2000. He retired because he had nerve damage on his left arm. Uh, a lot of people assume from him shooting up uh, heroin, and so from the time that they released, I think it was "The World Needs a Hero," which was, I want to say, 2000, and then "The System Has Failed," which was 2004. He had some, like, I forgot what the band was called, but he had some solo project, but he didn't tour or anything like that, and just recorded. So this isn't the first time that Megadeth is disbanding. Obviously, no original members are on it. Dave Ellefson, who was the OG bass player, he's come out and said that, even though he has a feud with Dave, he wants to be on the farewell tour. Do you know what happened to David Ellefson that got him out of the band?
No, I'll be straight with you. I don't really know fuck about Megadeth.
Really? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest thrash metal fan. If you look at the metal that I like lean to, it's like the halftime kind of like more atmospheric metal.
Hmm.
So, like I really like Sleep Token and Periphery and like older, like I love Metallica, but like I think that's like where I kind of push the envelope into kind of like early Metallica is like the closest that I get to like thrash stuff.
Right.
I maybe know a few Megadeth songs.
And
So
they're an acquired taste, I'll admit.
yeah.
What happened with David Ellefson though is that he got caught being on a webcam and like jerking off to some 18-year-old on like a live webcam, and he's married and everything like that. And she might have even been 17 at the time, kind of like what Destiny's going through right now.
Is that girl just like I'm surprised that they knew that girl's just like, "Oh shit, that's a dude from Megadeth."
I'm sure. I mean,
Like,
there's still a young generation out
I know.
there,
I know.
but
I just
yeah,
don't
that's
really
what
think
happened.
of webcam girls listening to like thrash metal.
I know. I don't think she was a webcam girl. I think she was a fan, and it went through DMs. I could be wrong.
It turned into like a you want a webcam kind of situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, it wasn't like he like logged on to like a cam service and was like buying something from somebody we may
No,
know.
no, he wasn't doing that. But there's memes of him like with his ding dong censored, and he's like sitting like this, and there'll be like it's really funny. But yeah, that's why he left. He's kind of it's ironic because what he's doing to Megadeth now is kind of what Dave Mustaine has always been doing to Metallica, just sounding really bitter and
Mhm.
um, talking mad shit about Mustaine. There's so many ex members. A lot of them are good with Mustaine now, but he's not easy to deal with. He feels that Megadeth is his own. If there's anybody that
Yeah,
could
is he
say
the
that,
only he's the only member left from the
yeah,
original lineup, right?
yeah.
And how long
David
is this
Ellefson was the only other one.
okay, how long when did they start losing people? Like, immediately after the first album, or is this just always kind of been
Yes.
the Dave Mustaine show?
So they had Gar Samuelson and Chris Poland in on the first album, and then they both got kicked out for selling their instruments to get heroin, and which is another irony because that's what Lars and James were afraid of Dave doing when they found out that he was on that stuff. And but like they had Marty Friedman and Nick Menza, which probably is their most iconic lineup because that was when they had Rust in Peace, Countdown to Extinction. Like their biggest hits were during
Yeah,
that era.
and that's another name that I actually know from the music world, so
Marty Friedman.
yeah, and, Nick
Yeah.
Menza, so
Oh yeah, cool, cool. Yep. And Marty Friedman went on to do J Rock. And then from there it's just been kind of a revolving door of talented guys. But
yeah.
lately he's been on the Brazilian train. I think uh, even Slipknot has been doing that with like Eloy Casagrande, who's a sick drummer, by the way. If you haven't heard him, he's man, they've had some awesome drummers in that lineup ever since Joey. I mean, Joey was talented too, but
Is that the
uh,
drummer is that the YouTube drummer that's really famous?
no, I know
No,
who you're
okay.
talking about, but he loves
He kinda
Eloy
has a
Casagrande.
name that's
Yeah,
close to that, right?
I think he's Brazilian too, if I'm not mistaken.
He might be. Um
He's sick.
And what is
He's
that
really
guy's?
good.
Yeah, dude, he's like drinking coffee and like he's got like he's playing like the most complicated metal song with just his feet and like one stick. And he's like
Yeah,
bouncing the stick and taking a cup of
right.
coffee. And I'm like, bro, you're the most amazing drummer I have ever seen. So
He was touring with some pop act, I think from Portugal
yeah,
recently, and his fans are upset. But it's like, dude, let him play whatever he wants. He's
yeah,
talented. He
yeah.
should get paid for this.
I liked he put out something with, like, an original band too called, like, Cash Out or something. That was I thought that was really good, but they didn't do it. They only did, like, 1 song. I'm guessing he seems busy.
Drum Beats Online, El Estapario Cibriano.
Yes, that's who
Yeah,
I'm thinking of, yeah.
he's
He's so good.
he is. He's
Yeah.
ridiculous, dude.
I also really like Luke Holland, man. Luke Holland's another fucking really good, like, drummer from YouTube who's just doing some, like, metal covers of, like, pop songs, and you're like, "This is crazy. I didn't realize that you could do this on an Ariana Grande song, but I love
There's
it."
dude, Genie in a Bottle that has so much double bass in it.
I know. I was listening to the production last week after we talked about it on the podcast where, like, you're right, like, there's, like it's programmed, but they're definitely doing, like, the double kick trick in the program. Yeah, I was like, "Damn, there's a lot of kicks in there."
I forgot that I had mentioned that. I always forget what we talk. Um, so yeah, let's go into Deftones. Uh, Private Music came out yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
we're recording this on a Saturday. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's really good. I didn't really care for the first single, My Mind Is a Mountain, and I was like, "Yeah, it sounds like a single," but, like, I haven't been s I'll be straight, like, I haven't really been a huge Deftones fan since, like, Koi no Yokum, like,
Hmm.
everything up until Koi no Yokum, I'm like, "Okay." I love every Deftones album from up until, like, 2012, and then I just haven't really the last couple, I just haven't really been
I think a
feeling.
lot of people feel that way.
So, but like this really felt like a return to form, you know? The first 2 tracks, I was like, "Okay." And then track 3 came on and I was like, "All right." Echidsis, I think is what it's called, which interesting name for a song. It's, that's when, like, a bug with an exoskeleton sheds their exoskeleton?
No, I was
Yeah,
wondering what that was.
that's what it is, yeah. So I was like, "This is an interesting, like, it's like an evolution, like, I'm growing into, like, my new skin." Like, spiders do that so that they can get bigger. They shed their original exoskeleton, so that's what it's called. Um, but man, I really like that song. I like
Yeah,
that there's,
that's
like,
one of my
I
favorites.
like the electronics in the beginning and, like, the kind of, like
It's very Nine Inch Nails ish.
yes, very Nine
I
Inch
got an
Nails.
industrial feel.
I got yeah, dude, I did too, but, like, once the bass and the drum kicks in and whatever that one note that just rings out like that and it just keeps going through that grind until all the riffs come in, I'm like, "Yeah, this is
Metal
gonna
Dreams
hit."
does that too a little
Yeah,
bit. There's a
really
few
good.
songs in there where they really incorporate it. I
Mhm.
thought this album really was what Ohms was supposed to be, and Ohms was just trying to find that
Y
shoegaze style that they
yeah,
really,
and
really incorporated
I
in
think
this.
they found a good balance here, like, a very
Yeah,
good balance on this album.
because it's super melodic.
Yeah, dude, and
It's
it's
it.
so good.
I I really liked it too. There were some songs that were throwaway songs, just like with almost any other album
Yeah,
that isn't a masterpiece. It's gonna have that problem. I
yeah.
really liked Infinite Source.
Infinite Source, I think, has the strongest chorus in my opinion, like, when they get to the chorus on that, it's so good, but it's
Yeah,
also really good mixing techniques on that, dude. The way that, like, the heavy guitars come in and his voice sounds like it does with heavy guitars, but then when they drop the guitars back out and you're just on the one rip that's going doo 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 doo, there's so much space that you could do with his voice that you just don't hear because of how heavy guitars that are detuned kind of sit in the same frequency pocket as his voice, so he sounds very blended into the guitar a lot of the time. But when those pieces drop out and you just get his voice ripping through the rest of the production, man, it sounds so fucking good. He's got a great voice. He always
yeah. I
has.
think that's a highlight of this album. It was one the drumming too.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, so
The
good.
drumming is awesome in this, but also what he is able to do melodically with his voice over the. Not saying that they're bad riffs, but they're simple riffs, and they really
Mhm.
give him the space that he needs to
Yeah,
come up with something fucking brilliant.
yeah.
I love how one of my favorite sounds in all of music, honestly, is those down tuned guitars that don't play straight power chords, but it'll be like a I forgot what they call them, but like you extend your pinky down 2 more frets instead of so if it's like a 3-5-5 power chord, it's a
Mhm.
3-5-7. Uh, I love I love that sound so much. The Used did that, but
They
they
weren't
weren't
going
doing
this hard. They
down-tuning
were
it.
doing it in
Yeah.
like a pretty manner to give like a break from like their the way that you mix guitars on like emo and like when you're doing like the quick stuff and then there's a lot of similarities, but there's also so many differences that like really separate those styles of music.
They put a lot more mid
Mhm.
than, and I
Yes.
usually hate mid because when you're doing stuff that incorporates one string riffs or like a lot of palm mute, mid really takes away from the chug, in my opinion.
Mhm.
You want to more focus on the bass and the treble.
Yeah.
But when you're doing chords like this, mid is very, very, very important.
Yeah. So, there's some yeah, dude, I really like this album. It's really good.
I get why that they use what's the first single called again? Mountain.
My Mind is a Mountain.
My mind is a mountain. I was with you. When I first heard that, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be another Ohms album.
That's kinda what I thought when I heard that
But
first
I
single
now
immediately.
that after listening to the entire album, I get why they released that in a way because it
Mhm.
kind of does, in a weird way, sum up the rest of the album. But when you hear it by itself, it doesn't. You have to hear it with the rest of the album to
I
really
know.
appreciate the song.
Yeah.
And then, man, I'm so bad with names. What's the second single called?
Milk of Madonna.
Milk of Madonna. I think
Milk
that's
of the
still the
Madonna, yeah.
strongest song on the album.
I'm glad they put that out right before the album because like, it made me excited for the rest of the album where the first single did not. So, like, second single, just to set up a few days before the album drops, smart fucking move.
And
Smart fucking move.
what they did with that song is usually they'll do those weird little power chords
Mhm.
in the chorus, but they use it as a verse and a pre-chorus, and then they go with like the single string uh, chorus where it sounds super heavy, and that I'm a sucker for that, dude.
Dude, me too. The single string trick on a low tuned guitar it's a good fucking move and it works. And that's why so many people do it nowadays because it works very well.
It's hard. I'm sure it's hard to pull off live though, because I mean, unless if you flip your switch to like, you'd probably have to move it, the neck pickup to get that single string sound stronger. You're gonna have to be flipping that switch quite a bit
I
in
have
between the chorus,
yeah, I don't think I've
verse.
ever written a song where like I've ever really felt like I needed to flip the switch. I kind of feel like if I start on the neck pickup, we're doing the whole song on the neck pickup. And then everything else, I pretty much just use the high pickup all the time.
Yeah, the same, but
Yeah. Except for
they could use pedals too.
yeah, they
It's
could.
very possible.
There's one song that I know for a fact I use the neck pickup on, and it's Love Knife, and that's just because 'cause I'm doing such like an ups like chuggity thing the whole song that, like, when we went into the studio and I was, like, recording that on a Gretsch, like, I had it flipped up, I was like, "Oh shit, this sounds fucking great."
You have to do it for funk, I feel.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I like the middle. I use the middle a lot. It also depends on whatever guitar I'm using. On my PRS, like I tend to only use the highs but like sometimes when I'm doing something, if I flip up to the neck, like sometimes I feel like I can find it works really well on like pretty heavy reverb, heavy delay where you're just gonna hit like something that rings out and just kind of let it bleed for a second. Neck pickup works great on that shit if you got a lot of
I thought
trippy
you were gonna
pedals.
break into Red Hot Chili Peppers for a second. You're like, sometimes I feel like gotta play on the neck pickup.
Is that on that it probably that song is on the neck pickup, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
On
John
a fucking on a
Frusciante,
yeah, on a
absolutely,
Stratocaster, yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. Man, he's such a good fucking guitar player, man. And there's
Hmm.
another fucking person who's got a fucking heroin problem that's an amazing guitar player, hand in hand in the '90s.
Yep. Well, I guess are the opiates today just make people too lazy to even play music? I don't know.
Yeah, I
I
don't
would
know
assume
either.
so. But I
Yeah.
think there's something even with the blues. That's how the blues started,
Mhm.
was them coming off of heroin and withdrawing and then just wailing on the guitar.
Crazy.
So yeah, you wanted to get into Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, other new albums that I've been kinda listening to, yeah, Chance the new Chance the Rapper album is really good. It reminds me of acid rap. It's kinda just like a return to form for him, kinda in the same way the Deftones are, where it's like, okay, like, he popped off with this mixtape and it was really good, and I don't really feel like he's put out albums since then, and, like, he's had some big hits, like, he had a song with Ben Gibbard featured on, like, his album from 2019 that I thought was really good. Um,
Postal Service, right?
Postal Service and Death Cab for Cutie, yeah. Um, so he's put out stuff over the years that has been good, but I don't feel like he's put out a cohesive project front to back that's been kind of amazing. And this album front to back is really good. He's got some great features, bro. He's got Young Thug, he's got Lil Wayne, he's got Ty Dollar Sign. He's got all the good fucking players that I want to see featured on a fucking really good hip hop album. So I
Lil
love it.
Wayne's new album was awful.
It was, but I can't. I fucking love Little Wayne though.
Yeah, me
Still,
too.
man, he's got
Me
he's
too.
got some bangers that like I will never be able to forget. He's such a good rapper. So, but yeah, Chance the Rapper's new stuff is really good. The production is so good. Like in my truck, like I feel like I'm living inside those songs. They surround you. It's great production on that
Who
album.
produces it?
I really don't know. It's probably a combination of producers. Let me see if I can pull it up real
Probably
quick.
true.
And that's typically how hip hop goes. Hip hop, maybe you have like a producer who's doing like the whole thing, and then you have a bunch of other producers working under them, which is we're going to talk about in a second when I talk about Dr. Dre and Compton, because that's how Dr. Dre does things. Dr. Dre he's like the head producer on everything, and he has the final say on the final mix and everything. But like when he's putting together an album, he's basically got people filling up every room of his studio where you've got like different artists writing the lyrics, and you've got different musicians in different rooms playing different things, and you've got drummers over here, and then you've got producers. You've got like 8 to 10 producers in the studio at a time in all these different rooms, like two producers and an engineer each that are just building this album from scratch, and then
Hmm.
he's just kind of going through and like, yeah, we like that, we don't like that, we like this, yeah, and then he goes to the board and does the final mix. So, yeah. But give me 1 second. I just want to see who produced what producers are on the new Chance the
Yeah, I don't think rock will ever get to that point where they have multiple producers. Doesn't make sense for them to.
No, no, because uh,
It
I
needs to be
think when
cohesive
you're yes,
sound,
exactly, exactly. It's easier to make hip hop cohesive between multiple producers because you're not using as many live instruments.
right?
you know? And then you're essentially producing the vocal the same way. If you use the same chain, like if a lot of rappers will engineer and edit their own vocals, big rappers, or they'll have their own engineer that basically does it for them, and they use
Right.
the same template like every time. There's a reason that Anderson Paak sounds like Anderson Paak no matter what he's on, and he works with 1,000 pop producers
Right. You need
over
that
different
signature
productions.
sound.
Yeah, so, like, you create, like, a signature vocal sound as a rapper, and then producers can work with that. So or you end up in a situation where or there are rap albums nowadays where, like, you have one producer, like, all the stuff with The Alchemist and all the stuff with, like, MF Doom, and, like, if you had albums like that, you end up having these full albums with these rappers, and, like so it could be like a producer and a rapper doing an album together. Um, Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked because I'm talking about a million things while I'm trying to look up um, the Starline producers. Looks like J Electronica, and I'm getting down to the production parts of Wikipedia here. I might cut a couple minutes of this out. Okay, so writers and producers, you've got not really anybody I don't really recognize any of these producers off the top of my head. A lot of new producers, a lot of young hip hop producers that I just I don't see a single producer that I really know.
His last album flopped, didn't it?
Yeah, I did.
I remember that.
Yeah, but this is blown up for him. This is like a nice return to what he used to be, and it's even this week, like, with all the music that came out this week, it's still, like, number 2 on Apple Music's, like, top releases right now next to the Deftones. I was like, "Oh, shit, alright." I
Oh,
was like, "Chance."
so it's good to see rock back at number
Yeah, dude,
one.
rock has been creeping back into the charts, man. Like, rock's making a comeback. It might not feel like on a major scale, but rock's making a comeback.
It
Like,
is, but it's with bands that have been around forever. There's
forever. Yeah, there's
no new rock. I mean, if you want to call MGK rock,
well, I
that's
don't,
one
but,
thing. He's
like,
alternate. I'm not even bashing him. Like he's doing his own thing. I think it's cool that he's rebranded himself. I
yeah,
totally respect that. But
yeah.
it's not. It's like maybe alternative because his new stuff kind of sounds like Depeche Mode in a way. It has that 80s synth sound to
It
it.
does have an '80s synth sound. It sounds like he's trying to blend, like, pop punk and '80s synth together. So, um, yeah,
Do you
which
think
is
he's going to end up selling more records than Eminem at the end of his career? I think he might. He
I don't think
might.
so. I don't think
You don't
so.
think so?
No, I don't think so.
How many more years do you think he'll have?
I
Because
don't know,
it,
but Eminem's, like, the top selling artist of all time still, right?
um, I doubt that. No, I think the Beatles are better than sold more.
I kinda feel like
I'd be shocked.
okay, let's
Michael
see.
Jackson,
Yeah, Michael Jackson, Beatles, yeah, obviously, but, like, in the
Rolling
hip hop
Stones.
world, Eminem's gotta be up there.
In the hip hop world,
Eminem's
maybe.
not even in the top 10, actually.
Yeah.
He's 11.
11. Okay.
Yeah, so here's the top 10. So, top 10 highest selling records of all time: The Beatles, number 1; Michael Jackson; Elvis Presley; Elton John; Queen; Madonna; Led Zeppelin; Rihanna; Pink Floyd, and then Eminem.
Really? He has more
Eminem.
than Eminem, or he has more than Metallica. Where's Metallica on that list? Not even the top 20, huh?
So it breaks it down in a I may have been reading this wrong. It looks like Michael Jackson may have taken, um, the Beatles a little bit, and Rihanna also has a lot more certified units than the Beatles. Looks like Rihanna might be the top selling artist of all time. I thought this was sorted in.
Rihanna's the best-selling artist of all time? No.
Well,
Let me
this
let
list
me
is weird. This list has claimed sales and then total certified units. The
so
Beatles are
it
showing
includes
200
streaming.
so the Beatles are showing 295,000,000 units, but, like, claimed sales is 5 to 600,000,000, and that's the top. Rihanna is showing 411.2 million total certified, but only 230 to 250 million claimed. And this list is going off of the claimed sales.
I
So,
see.
but I'm gonna keep it. We'll just go off the claimed sales because I think that makes more sense. So Eminem's 11 on this list, then Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Taylor Swift is 14, Beyonce 15, Ed Sheeran 16, Drake's at 21, Kanye West 23,
I think you wanna go
Coldplay,
by claim
Katy
sales, not
Perry.
total certified units.
I'm going by claimed sales.
Yeah. Man, Metallica's way down there, uh, tied with Britney Spears, Bruno Mars, Justin Bieber, Billy Joel. And they all these have, like, 150,000,000.
Yeah.
So
So
it's yeah. Man, but the Black Album's been well, this is rock we're talking about, but it's been, like, charting the Billboard for the majority of the past 30, 34 years.
yeah, and probably will be forever.
That's insane. And then
You got dudes
Master of
like
Puppets has been selling too.
Yeah,
That
there's probably dudes like me who are just like, "I'm gonna go listen to a couple Metallica songs every week," you know?
S&M goes back and forth as like one of the top classical albums because it qualifies as a
Dude, it's
classical album.
so good. S&M's great, bro. Like, it's one of my favorite. I remember I had that on CD, and I would just bump it out of my little
Yeah, me
boombox
too.
when I was, like, 12.
Yep, I'm a year older than you. It came out 99, so I was 12 as well, but I remember
I was
my
11 when it came out. I was probably, like, 12 when I discovered it. My brother-in-law was really big into it, and him and my sister were living with us at the time after they had their first kid, and, that's when I, like, really got into Metallica is when my brother-in-law was living with us because he's super fucking big Metallica head, so
I had an English teacher who I hated, and then she played that in class, and the only way I would behave in class is if like she played that while we were reading. And then she ended up becoming like my favorite teacher ever. I made
Damn,
this picture of
I wish
her.
I had teachers that played that music. The only teacher that I can think of that ever played music to us was a guy was like a geography teacher who like would not stop listening to Yanni.
I love Yanni,
Dude,
dude.
I love
Yanni's
Yanni
the
too, bro.
shit.
I'd love Yanni too, but like it's
Yeah.
it's just so
Growing
weird
up
that you
is
guys don't
realizing that
listen.
Yanni's sick as fuck.
You're starting to look you kinda look like Yanni.
Shut the fuck up.
If you shaved, you'd look like Yanni if you shaved your beard and your mustache.
Yeah, just a
Which
mustache.
look, I'll give you I can't grow a beard for shit, so, like, I totally respect it 'cause I was looking at, like, the progression of our YouTube shorts that have, like, our faces from where we started, and you have no
Dude,
facial hair, and then we get to the point where,
I
like, you are
know.
now, and I'm like, over, like, 30 videos, you've grown a whole fucking beard.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's
soon. It's
coming
just
in
gonna be
thicker
covering the whole
every fucking
screen.
video. It's so funny.
I'm gonna start braiding it. Dude, I've been losing hair up top here, which is partially the reason I mean, I've always loved beanies and hats. But I took a picture to see what the situation was the other day, and I like I'm gonna admit it on here. I kind of cried when I saw it because I was like, oh my god, I'm losing hair, and I was freaking out. So I was like asking Chat GPT how I would look like bald, dude, and I cried even more. It's like I'm gonna have to do like whatever Dog the Bounty Hunter did and like blow dry my hair, put hairspray to like cover everything. I wear a man bun typically to not let
Cover it,
other people,
yeah.
yeah, to cover it up, but it's fucked up. I might go to Turkey. So I'd appreciate if people liked and subscribed and uh, help start my fund for going to Turkey and fixing this problem. It'd be really appreciated. Do you want to get into Compton really quick?
Yeah, let me talk about Compton real quick just 'cause I was thinking about it the other day. It came out on, August 7th, 2015, and I remember where we were when we listened to it because it was just, like, such a big deal, you know? It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
shit, Dr. Dre hasn't put out an album since 1999." Like, big deal. I remember, like, sitting there with, like, our bass player and, like, I think my brother in the kitchen and just, like, listening on the big stereo system in the living room, just at the kitchen table, and it just blew my mind. I hadn't really I drifted away from hip hop for a long time. When I was a kid, I loved hip hop because I was like hearing Dr. Dre and Eminem on the radio. So I was like, oh shit, this is fire. It was like one of my first experiences of like drifting from my parents' music when I was like 10, like listening to Dr. Dre. It's such a weird taste as a kid because I was like, I listened to Dr. Dre and Eminem, but then I was also listening to like Korn and Limp Bizkit and like Incubus and Linkin Park.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
that album really exploded as far as taking Anderson Paak's career off.
Yes, and that's like the main thing that I take away from that album is like it introduced me to Anderson .Paak, and like that for me is like one of those like I don't know if you have those, but like that is like a defining moment for me, just
Mm-hmm.
like in my
Mm-hmm.
musical career where it like had opened my ears to a whole new a availability of sonics that I hadn't really thought about because I'd just been playing rock, and like
Right.
writing guitar riffs my whole life. And I never really thought about being a producer until that point. And then that album happened. And then I heard Odessa about the same time. And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I might be able to produce. I might be able to kind of do some of this stuff myself. And I had to go through a production journey because of Compton, So I love that album. I listened to it recently because I was like, I saw that, I saw Dr. Dre and Anderson .Paak talking about it recently and just talking about how big of an impact it was on like especially Anderson .Paak. You're talking about how that changed the trajectory of his career. And now he's like one of the biggest people in music now. I still
Yeah.
don't think he's super mainstream popular, but the stuff with Bruno Mars definitely brought him closer to the top than he was.
That's a good
And
mix right there, him and Bruno
yeah,
Mars.
dude, the Silk Sonic album sounds great. So I
Yeah.
love that album. It's like
And
me and one of my wife's favorite albums.
every Dre album I feel promotes a different artist and it
Yes.
really pushes him up. Maybe Anderson .Paak
Mhm.
less so, but still it was
Yeah, so
significant
so
because you have
he's
you have Snoop Dogg with
yes.
with the first album, and then you have Eminem, in a
Yes,
second with
but
along with Exhibit.
you also kinda helped launch Exhibit and Nate
Yeah.
Dogg and all these other people that kind of just gravitated and got lifted by Dre. Um, so yeah, Compton's the same way. Look, I look at who's on Compton now that, like, hadn't Kendrick Lamar, by the time Compton came out, had already blown up. Like,
Right, right, right.
to Pimp a Butterfly and, Good Kid, Mad City were both out, and, like, both like, Good Kid put him on the fucking map. And To Pimp a Butterfly took him to, like, a larger scale of people. Like, To Pimp a Butterfly, like, made indie rock kids fall in love with Kendrick
Yeah, and
Lamar.
he won
So,
what he won a poet laureate award or what
yes.
what did he win?
So,
Yeah, it's
yeah, some crazy
he
shit.
was
So
already huge by the time that
he's
came
already
out.
huge by the time it came out. So, but, like, you're getting features like him, but, like, what I recognize Compton is doing is it elevated a lot of hip hop producers into very big roles. Like,
Mhm.
now all the producers that I see on there are, like, the top hip hop producers nowadays. Like
'Cause,
DJ
but when that came
Khalil
out
and, like, DJ Dahi and, like, all these guys who are, like, doing big shit for Kendrick now and big stuff for all these other people, they came from the Compton Group.
when that came out, though, it was, like, the end of the Manny Fresh era and the focus on 808s, and I think
Yes.
Compton kind of promoted a more larger kind of not big band. In a way,
There's
it was like a show it was like a show kind of production.
Uh-huh, and that's it's theatrical, and that's what I
Yeah,
really
theatrical,
appreciate
yeah.
about Dr. Dre is he has this cinematic approach to these records that a lot of artists don't do, and that's part of the reason I heavily gravitate towards concept albums and having a theme that we're gonna use on records. Like, it's just so, I just feel like Dr. Dre is so impactful, and his releases are very limited, but, like, they are very good. I don't know if you he produces for a lot of people. I listen to a lot of people he produces where you don't really see his name on the album, but very good artists that he's producing. He's drifting a little bit more into the R&B world where, like, I'm hearing him produce stuff for, like, Marsha Ambrosio, which is, like, fucking amazing. But he produced the him and Snoop Dogg just put out a joint album last at the end of last year, and it was really fucking good. So, yeah, just
And, you wanna talk about the Roots release?
I do want to talk about the Roots release. We do have a new song up. I'm gonna get you a link to put in the YouTube description for our Spotify for that. But we do have a new song out called Roots, Stealing Fire Roots. If you guys like the mixture of kind of rock and hip hop. That song kind of leans more into my hip hop roots than I think any other song we've ever put out.
And
That
it's
is
not
me.
based on the Lamar Burton movie,
No, it's not.
just in case you were wondering.
No, it's kind of talking about all kinds of different. It talks about roots in very different ways. The first verse is really talking about roots of, like, American politics and kind of what's happening in our society right now, and then um, the chorus is really heavily about, like, as bad things happen around us and in our society, do you feel like your relationship with people is different? Like, the chorus is, the last line of the chorus is, someone you once loved is now a stranger. Like, I feel like I'm talking about some really interesting stuff on Roots. So I just, if anybody wants to go listen to it, hit our Spotify, Stealing Fire, new song out called Roots. We've got a new album coming out at the end of the year that Roots and all the singles we've put out this year will be on. So just keep an eye out for that. But I think that's all I've got for this one.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We'll catch you next time. And as Josh says, stay curious.
Stay curious. Thanks, guys.